Hello, everyone. Welcome to Obvio Q&A. Um, hmm, I'm not home at the moment, as is obvious. So just getting set up here. I'm sure I'm not missing anything. Um, cool. Oh, hello, Blue. Let's put on the blue side here.
Hey, hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
Um, yeah, too bad. I'm in Sydney at the moment. With the family, we came and we saw Lion King musical. And it was
Hmm.
and it was very good. It did not disappoint.
Were there lions?
There were several.
Fascinating. Several lions, at least one.
It's all right.
That lion was the king.
I see what you did there. Brilliant.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
Are you mid-show? You know what's happening there?
There's something happening, but I don't know
Yeah,
that that's
something
ever
going
not the case, you know?
on. Very good. All right. Well, we have no questions that have been posted on the dashboard.
Excellent.
But
Thanks a lot. Have y'all have a
yeah,
great day. We'll talk to you next week.
enjoy your summer.
Yeah.
Um, but people have no doubt come for a reason. Hello, Tamara. Haven't seen you for a while. Your name was spoken a few times recently in relation to your extensive, exciting, and creative use of Obvio. Um, it keeps getting better and better, it seems. It's cool. So, any questions? Feel free to unmute and go for it. You can't unmute. Ah,
Oh, that's probably my fault.
oh, that's
Sorry.
probably your fault. Yeah, yeah. I packed a lot of stuff, a backpack full of tech gear to be able to do this easily, and then just left the backpack at home.
Nice.
That's yeah. Oh, I mean, I packed three kids and a wife. That was unusual for me. I don't normally do that when I go away.
You, do you
So,
normally only pack one or two of them?
yeah, I don't take all three. Um, and so that's my excuse for leaving my backpack. So I'm running on a Neo, and it's kind of working.
Oh, you're
Can you
running on a
unmute
Mac
now?
did you say on a
I
MacBook
can
Neo? Is that
unmute
what you're
now.
on?
Neo.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, it's
There
awesome.
we go. Yeah. Okay. So hello, Tamara. Was there did you just come to hang out, or did you have a specific
I
question in
came to
mind?
hang out. I came to hang out and listen. I do have a silly admin question though that I don't know if you guys want to tell me what to do. I want to upgrade to pay full year as opposed to monthly. And every
Okay.
time I've reached out and they're like, yeah, you just do it. And it actually didn't just do it. Is that do I have to drop the other and then do it?
Good question.
And
So
if I cancel and then restart it, am I going to like lose everything?
no,
Or
no,
will
no,
it
you
just,
won't. No,
okay.
you won't do that. And in fact, I could just trigger it for myself for you. Um, we we tightened up because remember you've experienced this where we've had multiple subscriptions active at the same
I
time,
have.
right? And so now we've probably gone to the other extreme where now we're making sure that you can't have multiple subscriptions at the same time. But now we've probably locked it down so much
I'm
that you
also
can't
your
even
problem
change.
child. Like I'm also your problem child. Like people talking, Justin was like, yeah, people are talking about you. I'm like, I'm a cautionary tale. You shouldn't be looking at me.
um, yeah, I what you're saying. So if you cancelled, it will trigger the cancellation for the end of the period that you're in at the moment,
Uh-huh.
and so then trying to add it back again, I think may not work. You're welcome
Okay.
to try it, but I can make a note to switch it around for you.
Yeah, and
Um,
I've got to decide which card I want to put that on anyways, but I
sure, okay.
just think it would be easier because I
Hmm.
definitely love my Obvio and have obviously use it all the time.
Yeah, makes it a little bit cheaper. You save a couple of months.
Yeah. I've
Yep.
been trying to like upgrade it to the other one. I'm not quite there yet, and I was like waiting, but I'll just
Enterprise. Hmm.
yeah, I'm trying. I'm not quite there yet.
Fair enough.
I'm close.
Um, yeah. Well, and you might find um, we've had a I've had a couple of people that have got a yearly have got a yearly subscription to Pro and then have upgraded for a month to run a couple of shows or whatever for the to Enterprise. And that can work if that's helpful. So
Yeah, I think
you just want it all the
I'm
time.
I'm super close. So I think if I can just get some of these people to be like, here's what it costs, then it'll
Hmm.
happen. You
Yeah.
know, most of my stuff,
Well,
as you know, are nonprofits, so there's no
yes.
profit for me or for them.
Right. But yeah, so if you get your card right,
Hmm.
which you can do, you get all that sorted, and then if you want to try the cancellation, then try to do it by all means. But then just send a message, and then they'll assign it to me, and I'll make sure that I can change it
Perfect.
over
Thank you
for you.
so much.
No worries.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Right. Anyone else? Any other VO type questions or other philosophical life questions that you may have at this point? Nothing, Miriam. That's great. Well done. You- you've answered all life's questions. So just visiting. Is that like in Monopoly? You're not in jail. You're just visiting.
Free parking.
Pretty much. Or do you play where you get all the money in the middle of the board if you
Oh
go on
yeah,
free
interesting
parking?
house rules. I
Mm.
like that.
Hmm.
Let's
Hmm.
go.
No, 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 guys. I'm like the banker who's like, behind the scenes waiting for the opportunity to take it all.
Harsh.
Uh, that's true.
Harsh.
All right, Barbara. Oh, let's see if we can turn that frown upside down.
Hi. So just a quick question. I am wondering,
Yes.
is there an ideal size to make your logo for the Obvio dashboard? Because sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't fit. And I'm not a graphic designer by any stretch. So is there something I should tell somebody if they're making it for me so it's ideal?
Uh, so it's Blue took a deep breath. He's about to answer. No.
I'm happy to stay quiet.
Blue will correct me when I say this wrong. So there is no specific dimensions. It's more about the ratio that works best, right? So what we tend to find, a ratio by meaning whether it's square, whether it's tall, like generally what we're looking for. So actually tell me, when you've said that has gone wrong, what about it has gone wrong? Is it too small? Is it what?
I can't make my logo or emblem or whatever you want to call it small enough to fit the space. So even when I size it down, there's still parts of it that are cut off. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So that's the resize tool. And there's an option there where it says don't resize. What is it?
It does say that. Yeah, something to that. I know what you mean. Yep.
Yeah, skip resizing.
It's not resize. It's not resize. It's the crop tool. I will correct you. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not actually actually resizing it. It's the crop tool when you first upload it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can skip that. And that's the best way. If you've got something that is exactly the way you already want it, then click that skip, and then that will keep it the exact same size that you had it originally. We added that as a way. Yeah. We added it as a way to be able to crop it if you're just doing that last minute, actually let me crop it down a little bit. If you don't need that, then it will come in at the exact size that it originally was.
You're right. It just did. That's okay. So that must have been what I did before, because I was like, I did the same exact sizing, and now it's not working. So okay, it just worked. I just did it, and it is there. So we are rocking and rolling. That was all I needed.
You're
at this
welcome.
point, anyway.
And you can thank me for that feature. I claim these ones. It's just a handful of ones that I said, Blue, we should add a skip resize, and there you go. For moments just like this.
It worked. Bravo.
There's 3 or 4 really great grant ideas in the platform for sure.
Thank you. What about the 5 or 6 other ones that I've got through as well?
Those were mediocre ideas. But sometimes a mediocre idea is better than a bad idea. I mean, come on.
Thank you. There we go. All right. Anyone else? Blue, what's a fun use case of Obvio that you've used recently? I know that it's not Obi, and you're living and breathing Obi at the moment.
I really kind of am. Although I will tell you, I'm excited about some of the work that Aiden is working on for Obi or Obvio, where we are looking to allow certain modifications to the dashboard to be done through an AI agent, which I think will be interesting to make it a little bit easier for people to be like, how the F do I change the background color of, this button? I can't figure it out. Well, there's certain things that we've been working on, the ability to both create an event from scratch using AI within our platform, and also be able to make changes and generate content using AI. We're probably a few months away from actually releasing it, but I saw a really promising demo this week, actually, that I'm excited about.
It's really cool because we've talked about wizards for a long time that were like, like step you through things, but this is like the next level of that. It's like, but
it's like a smart wizard.
Whoa. As opposed to those dumb wizards. Yeah, that would be really nice.
The dumb wizards are just like everybody gets the same wizard. I think the smart wizard is like your wizard is different than my wizard is different than Renee's wizard because it asks questions based on your responses, which I think is kind of fun. And, you know, some of that stuff is coming out of the development work that we're doing for Obi, oddly enough, as we work closer with AI. So I think it's kind of neat.
Barbara's got a non-obvio question for Blue since he's here. Oh, Renee, you're about to speak.
I was. I just wanted to ask a clarifying question if I could, Blue. I was curious when you say the features will offer connection to internal AI. Is that specifically Obi, or this is something separate from?
Well, so we're working on two things behind the scenes. One is Obi, which is we're calling it an outcome delivery platform, but essentially at its core, it is an AI-enabled course delivery platform. So it's a new way of delivering course content that is less about just pre-recorded content and more about helping your audience get the result that you promised through your course, right? So rather than teaching them a whole bunch of stuff and then they have to go do the stuff, depending on what it is that you teach, you walk them through your process, you ask a series of questions, and then Obi, as an AI tool that is essentially your agent, then will output the result for your user. So it gets them closer to the end result of what you promised without having to go and do the work. Part of what we think we're, solving for it with that platform, and then I'll get to the Obvio side of it as well. What we think we're solving for with that platform is right now there's a general consensus in the marketplace that, everything is free on the internet, right? Why would I buy a course? I can just go ask ChatGPT how to host an event, right? Or I just go ask ChatGPT how to deal with menopausal symptoms. But the reality is that we as coaches and consultants have a very unique take on our specific problem that we solve, right? And AI, for the most part, is still very generic in its responses. So what Obi allows us to do is allows us to take our knowledge, our framework, our structure, and put it into an AI method or an AI delivery method that steps our users through our process as though we were walking through it with them, hand in hand, right? So it's essentially one-to-one coaching at scale, which is really, really cool. I think it's really cool anyway. And we've been working on it. We started working on Obi. Technically, it was part of, it was baked into Obvio for Leap members only about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And back in, I want to say November, we started splitting it, we started baking it into its own platform from the ground up. And we are, I would say, weeks, if not about 4 to 6 weeks from actually launching it publicly. We have about 30 people who are coming on board as beta testers next week. And yeah, there's some really interesting things that I think we're doing with it anyway. Now, what we're learning is, we're behind the scenes, much like many developers. Like most platforms that you use that are not ChatGPT or Claude are using Anthropic or OpenAI behind the scenes to execute on their AI tools, right? So whatever the platform is, you can almost name any single one of them, and most of them are using one of those two, if not a couple of Chinese models that may be being used by developers. Very few companies are actually standing up their own AI model. Like very, very few. There's 4. Every single other company that is giving you some sort of AI tool is using one of these other main models behind the scenes to execute. And we're no different. But in doing all this work with Obi, we're realizing that there's some really interesting things that we could do inside of Obvio to make the platform a little bit more approachable, right? Because there's a lot of stuff you can do in Obvio, and most people know 10%, right? You know that a dashboard exists, you know how to get your attendees into the dashboard, you know how to get them into Zoom, but you may not know that you can do an intake form coming into the event. You may not know that you can do a tech check that is self-paced, where while I think that a one-to-one interaction with a human is a better experience, you may be like, I don't have humans. I just want to record a video, but still have a tech check. Well, that's baked into the platform. So you may not know all of these things. So we've been thinking through, and I've been thinking through quite a bit how we can leverage AI to make the experience better. Grant's 100% right. We've been talking about using wizards, essentially like start this and it just asks you a series of questions, and that then translates into your event being created. But a properly trained AI model can do some even more interesting things, because it can execute unique tasks based on your specific questions and answers. And anyway, it's just interesting to us. And like I said, we have one developer who is there. He's probably spending about 50% of his time working on that, and how we can integrate AI into Obvio to make the platform easier to use. And also do things like, create a blog post and you say, hey, can you write me a welcome letter for my event? And have it actually do some content creation for you as well, rather than you having to sit there and like figure out exactly what to type. So we have a few things kind of, I'll say, up our sleeve to try and make the platform a little bit more approachable. And at the same time, we're also behind the scenes in the middle of a pretty big infrastructure update, which will make some of those things a lot more approachable for us as a development team. So there's some things happening on Obvio that we don't really talk about, because it's basically going to be 3 months of work, and when we make it live, your experience as an end user is completely unchanged. Which is, I liken it to when Barry and I bought our house here in Charleston, we had to repoint our foundation, which is to say you have to make sure that the bricks don't fall down under your house. And it is the least gratifying renovation work you'll ever do, because nobody ever looks at the foundation. Nobody's ever going into our crawl space and going, oh, wow, this is a really nicely repointed foundation. That's really hot. Glad you did that. Nobody. And when we sell the house, we may put it as a line item that the foundation was repointed in 2022, but no home buyer is thinking to themselves, well, thank God, because I thought for sure I was going to have to repoint that foundation. So it's like the worst money we've ever spent. But of course, the house isn't falling down, so maybe not. And this rebuild of Obvio is kind of the same thing, right? There's a bunch of foundational work that, as technologies progress and security continues to update and AI becomes more and more prevalent and all sorts of things happening in the space, we have some foundational changes that are needed. So we're working on that at the same time, which you guys, like I said, when it goes live, you'll never know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's when we say talking about AI, that's hopefully that answered the question, Renee.
I wonder, Blue, specifically around, and maybe it was a throwaway line, but you're talking about like our AI, the things that we're using, ChatGPT or the people who are using Claude, gets to know us along the way, and it kind of knows some things. Were you saying that being able to use our own instance to be able to talk to Obvio, or it being just built into Obvio and it's kind of its own thing?
We've actually been discussing what's the right way to implement this, right? Do you build an MCP server that chat, like your native instance of ChatGPT or Codex can engage with, or do we bake the AI that is in Obvio just straight there? And where I think we're landing, I haven't had a more recent conversation, but where I think we're landing is the underpinnings of the AI are actually an MCP server that could potentially be externally authorized, kind of like an API for AI. But the front end inside of Obvio will look as though it's ours. It's just using our own MCP to actually function behind the scenes. So I have to. That's a continued conversation that hasn't been fully fleshed out. But I personally like the idea, and I think the future of a lot of tools that implement AI is a lot more open than closed, especially for things like that. As your AI tool of choice, whether it's Chat, GPT, or Claude, or Grok, or Gemini, or whatever, all of whom can interact and engage with MCP servers, generally speaking. As you train your AI model of choice, your daily driver, to really know you, if you walk into your ChatGPT and say, write a welcome letter for my event, it's going to be insanely better than if you walk into Obvio AI that doesn't actually know you, but knows a little bit about your event, and you ask it to write a welcome letter for your event. You're going to get a better response out of ChatGPT than out of Obvio's AI, because it's going to sound more like you. And there's nothing we can do about that, right? Like, there's no way to fix that outside of possibly doing some sort of really big, robust, question and answer session. Like, hey, Grant, tell me a little bit more about you before you get to use AI. And nobody wants to go through that crap. That's a horrible experience.
It's true.
Okay.
It's literally the least fun thing to do is training your AI to know you, right? Because it's like, I already just know me. I just want you to know me. Stop asking questions.
Yes.
So
how quickly we got to that point.
Right? Exactly. I don't care
I don't
that
want
you
this
can
thing
write
to
an
know.
email in 13 seconds. I do not care about your generic email. It must sound like me. Yeah.
I don't want
We're
this
so
thing
much
to know
less
me.
impressed by what 3.5 used to be able to do, right?
Yeah. Very quickly went from, I don't want this weird thing to know me, to, I want you to know everything about me. So that
I know.
makes it easier.
I literally, it's so funny. I've been, you know this, we've talked a lot about this. I've been vibe coding a lot. And Fable came out like 3-4 weeks ago, right? Beginning of June. We had it for like 5 days, and then the US government shut it down. And I went from, this was the most amazing model ever, I can't believe how awesome Fable is, this is fantastic, to it then being ripped away, right? And I felt like, what the hell am I going to do now? I've had this thing for like 4 days, and I'm like, what is going? Have you seen that clip, that Louis C.K. clip, where he's talking about internet on a plane? Have you seen this?
Yes.
And he's
yes.
You're literally in space, right? And it's like, yesterday you couldn't watch TV, and today you can, but for a second you can't access your email, and you're complaining like the world is coming to an end. Like, dude, you're in space. So that's kind of that's what every day feels like, and definitely what, whatever June 12th, when the day Fable went away, felt like. So anyway. I'm sure Ash was going to ask an actual question rather than this, open-ended conversation we're having right now.
I do have a question. So. Okay. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, by the way, good conversation. I find it fascinating. But anyways, I used to be a programmer, so I find it fascinating. So I get it. But that being said, and nice to see you as well. Thank you, Miriam. Good to see you. But that being said, I am running 6 months ago. I think I have mentioned to you, Blue, that I started doing networking events, and it was just an idea. I thought it would be a good idea to run my own. I started running them, and now, I've been getting like 100 people a week registering for that thing, and new people every week, like coming on board. So now I have more people. They're like, can we be, and I'm creating my Sherpas. So actually more people are actually willing to do the same thing. So would Avia be able to handle that in terms of scheduling them and making a recurring meeting and things of that nature? Do we have that capability? Or having because I know we can have multiple Zooms, right? So that's a setup part, but
So the short answer is yes.
Yes.
The
No?
slightly longer answer is it's not really intended
It's
for
no.
that, but
Yes.
you can't. Well, it's more like, so here's an example. The call that we're on right now, right?
Yeah.
This is the same event and has been the same event. I think when did we create this event, Grant? It feels like 22. Like this is one of the older events that keeps getting
it's
extended,
4 or 5
right?
years now.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we go into the same room every week, and we just launch the room at 5 o'clock on on Wednesdays, or 5 a.m. depending on what time zone Grant is in. And
So maybe
people come to the same dashboard. Sometimes we make changes to the dashboard, but essentially, and as new people get added as new people come on as subscribers, they get transitioned to, they get added to this event. So, and get invited to this event. So, that's essentially what you're talking about. We do the same thing with Leap. The Leap dashboard has been, for the most part, unchanged for several years, but we run everything through it because it also allows us, when somebody leaves Leap, we can remove them and they no longer have access to the dashboard. And we don't have to worry about like, John has our Zoom link and we have to make sure that if John shows up, we kick him out because he stopped paying for Leap. Or, if John stops, being an Obvio user, we don't want him or her. I guess John's probably a him. We don't want him or her on this call anymore. So yeah, anyway, so that we have
maybe
the
I just need to
advantages
understand
of Obvio.
this. So maybe I just need to understand the setup then, because it was my understanding that I would have to go in and set up an event every time to turn on or open up the room.
You don't need to. You just extend the date. So rather than having an event that's for 3 days, you create an event that starts tomorrow and ends 3 years from now. That's it. That's everything else is the same. Mm-hmm.
Everything else is the same.
Yep.
Okay. So can I start like multiple rooms at the same time? So like the challenge I'm having is, I have more and more people are like, can we become your, I said, we can talk about, I have a specific system I set up and it's just beautiful for entrepreneurs. So they're asking, so can we have same event? Like, how do I get 2 people having event at the same time? And that's a challenge I'm having with Zoom.
Yeah. So you can do that inside of Obvio. You have to have some sort of identifier that is information at the attendee level, right? So if your attendees have tags that identify this person is network group 1, this person is network group 2, then you can put 2 different buttons on your dashboard, one that is for networking group 1 Zoom meeting and one that is for networking group 2 Zoom meeting, and put rules on those buttons for those specific attendees. And then you can invite your Sherpas as team members to your Obvio account and allow them to start the meeting that they're associated with. There's other ways that you can do it, but that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Now you have to be cautious. Like you probably want to set up a rule for those people so that they only have access to start the area and the rooms, but not make changes to the event, because you probably don't want them to make changes to the actual dashboard. You just want them to be able to launch Zoom. But all that's totally doable, and a little bit of training for those folks would make it easy.
Okay. And then recordings are going to be on your dashboard, and then if you need to download them, we just download them and do that way, right?
Yep. Correct. And what I would remind you is recordings should be downloaded as quickly as possible. We keep them for 60 days, but you should download them the moment they're ready.
The moment they're ready. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Thank you.
But yeah,
I have a question, but I'm not going to ask because the answer is going to be no. So I'm just not going to ask.
Well, you can ask.
I think Grant knows what I'm going to ask.
The answer may be no, but
Can it automate Vimeo?
Is there
Can't
any
what?
way you can automate that with Vimeo?
Yeah, that's right.
You should try
He's
that.
been
It's a good
asking that for
idea.
a couple of years.
It's a good idea. I love that feature. Let me tell you one thing about.
I'll tell you what, Ash. The moment more than one person that barely uses Obvio asks the question,
Guys, please ask.
I will
Ask
think about
right
it.
Here. Ask everybody. Ask. Please ask. Okay. It
No,
will make your life so much easy. It will literally.
Nobody on this call is allowed to ask the question. That doesn't count. Miriam, don't even start. Don't even start. We're not helping Ash out. Okay. I'm going to start quizzing all of you guys. If this question starts becoming a regular, I'm going to be like, "What's Ash paying you to ask this question? I want to know."
Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But hey, you know what? We do have. You can automate it with membership.io.
Okay. Membership.io.
So, membership.io, you can automate the import of recordings from a specific event. They have an integration that works with Obvio. So basically, you set up sorry. Well, look at this. We do have an answer for you. It's just don't use Vimeo. So membership.io has an Obvio integration, and you can add events as connectors inside of membership. And as recordings get created for the areas or the event that you have added, it will automatically import those recordings into membership.io. So you can automate it. You can't automate it with Vimeo.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then yeah, no problem. I will look at membership.io for sure. The storage capability, I'm gonna assume, is gonna differ than Vimeo quite a bit.
Yeah, it's gonna differ, and
that's what I was gonna say.
Generally speaking, the membership.io, for people who actually have a decent amount of content, Vimeo has a tendency to suck. And especially
Really?
Vimeo Pro. They especially if you like, there have been instances I've heard of many people who have had issues where if the majority of their content on their Vimeo Pro account is gated and not public to the Vimeo site, that you can potentially run into issues, and they'll actually way overcharge you. So I personally am not a huge Vimeo fan.
Okay, well, you saw me on membership.io in that scenario, because if they're allowing me certain things, then I think it's a good idea. So thank you for letting me know. I didn't know that, by the way. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was really prevalent about 2 years ago. I don't know if they're still doing it. I haven't heard it quite as much, because a lot of the big users that I knew that were content creators who were selling courses and then hosting their courses on gated private Vimeo, or using Vimeo as the hosting service, they were getting huge bills, like bigger than Wistia. Because of how they were because of it was basically around fair use guidelines, because their terms, or their membership, again, I haven't looked at this in ages, but their membership,
I can give some
their levels,
specifics on that. So they've actually been a bit more transparent about what those guidelines are now, and so it's a 2 terabyte per month bandwidth limit, and so anything above 2 terabytes of transferred usage, right? So a bunch of people, what it ends up being is like you've got like an hour-long video or something that's essentially a gig video, and 1,000 people watch that in a month, or 2,000 people watch it in a month. You blow through that 2 terabyte limit, and so then they want to charge you, or they want you to upgrade to an enterprise or whatever. So for most people that are just running something to have a video that plays to a few hundred people, that's still fine, and it's still actually quite a cheap bandwidth thing, because you're talking about 24 terabytes a year, which is actually quite good for bandwidth. And there were issues around live streaming with Vimeo, and I had trouble with that, but I've never had trouble with video on demand. I will say that there was a website that we had, and someone thought it was a great idea to just have a looping background on the website be a Vimeo link. And so, of course, everyone that went to it, hit this website was using Vimeo bandwidth. So it blew through the 2 terabyte limit. And of course, that was a problem. So, but in general,
I'm sorry, is that growth that's going to be a problem, is what you're saying?
It depends on how much you're using it. I think your bigger issue, just by what I've heard from you before, is your total storage amount. So I think membership is awesome. Membership.io is awesome. But like their starting plan is 50 hours of video. So, I mean, that'll be 1 week for you.
1 week.
I
mean, because my manifestations, my VIP mastermind, my manifestation is 1 hour a day, and then so is VIP mastermind, right? So that's like 2 hours a day gone. So a month, I'll be blowing through that really fast.
So then the next one's 250. I think the plan is 250, and then you just pay for more hours on top of that. 50 extra hours is $8 a month. So it's not too bad, but and so it just depends whether you want that for the workflow of being able to connect it and have it join, or if you just need to download them and upload them. So
I mean, that obviously my team can do, but I'm trying to see because if it's going to go into Vimeo and then I'm going to eventually run into the same problem, then I may need to start thinking about it now as to versus later as to because if they're going to shut me down or charge me gazillion dollars, then all my it just may not be worth it. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Sure. Hey, Miriam.
Hey, thank you. I was just wondering, as I'm listening about the downloads, I mean, it's a silly question, but if we have membership.io and it's automated to go there, for example, and then I want to download it onto my computer, I can still do that. It's not like it's just disappeared, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And then the other thing just went through my mind is, let's say that there is the full day or 5 hours of an event, and I want that sent to membership.io or to have it downloaded. How does it handle that? Like, do I just have to have a really strong connection myself in order to download and have a lot of time? Or talk to me about what that process is like, or if there's anything that you can share with me about that would make that easier. Because I know that once we hit the record in Obvio, I think Blue, if I remember correctly, you're saying don't ever hit pause, just let it keep going because people forget to turn it back on.
I don't want to risk that,
So I'm looking for the nuggets around that. That would be great. Thank you.
There's a couple of little things there. So the connection with membership and Obvio is all sort of in the cloud and has no bearing on your local connection at all, right? So that just happens and is really fast because they're both in the cloud and they send rain from one cloud to another cloud and away it goes. So that's just that's very fast. So your the length of your video doesn't matter. It doesn't matter from a technical point of view. From an experience, it does matter, right? Because you probably don't want to just post, here's my full day in real time video. All the best scrubbing through that and trying to find, where you want to get to get back to a section that you want to get to. So what I'm saying there is that you're more likely to want to edit a day into sessions, into separate videos and have that really clear so that people are able to go back and access those. The interesting thing about recordings, and you've heard Lou and Barry talk about, do you make recordings available for people? And is that a deterrent for people showing up live and things like that? I really do like the idea that the recording is to review the content. hey, don't worry if you didn't catch this, while we're saying this right now, because you will have access to some recordings in the future. You can go back and look at it. And if that's the way that you're setting up your recordings, then you want to make that technically really easy to do, right? Because it's like, oh, I can see a list. I can see session 2. That was the thing about that. Yeah, I want to go back and review that section. Does that make sense? Is that how you see your recordings?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm working with a tech person. We're building a lot of infrastructure that's piecing different platforms together. And I'd like to start a podcast and, start having conversations with people from different parts of the world and use possibly the Obvio so that people can be present while we're having those conversations and add their questions and things.
Yep.
That brings me to another question about the if it goes straight over to member dot
Membership.
membership.io, it's just going to have the video. We're only talking about the video. The text in the conversation, but beside it is downloadable after the event as well for that data mining. And that's a different set of things to download, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's grabbing the video and posting that. I mean, especially with a podcast, you're definitely going to want to do some editing, right? But especially if you're doing it live, right? Because you're likely to sort of have a little bit of a pre-show. You're talking to the guest. You may be saying hello to the live audience, taking a couple of questions or whatever, and then you're like, okay, now I'm going to start. Um, and as you said, never hit pause, on the Zoom recording. Just let that go so that you don't risk turning it off and forgetting to turn it back on again. You're better just having the full raw recording. Now, because of
And
that,
then,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
And
because of
sorry to
that, you don't want
interject.
that. Yeah, you go.
To there's a transcript that will automatically happen, or do we have to turn that on the back end?
That's the thing with membership.io. They do their own, don't they, Blue? They do their own transcription. Yeah.
Yeah, they do their own transcript, but then you can also grab the transcript from Zoom. That's just, or from Obvio. That's just manual.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you,
Separate to
thank you.
it. Yeah. Welcome. Barbara.
Did you say Barbara? You kind of cut out there.
I did. Sorry, Barbara.
Okay, great.
Yes, I did.
So I've been working in Obvio as we're talking. So there are two things that have come up for me. So when I'm making changes, I'm finding that I have to refresh multiple times before it actually shows up on my dashboard for me to see it. I don't know if that's typical. I don't know if that's a me problem. I don't know what that is. And then the second part is my computer, when I use Obvio, slows down dramatically. And I don't know if there's something I can do other than getting, a new computer or something, but is there something I can do differently to make it so that doesn't happen? Because it's very slow when I use Obvio. Those are my two things.
So the first one is around when you're looking at the dashboard as an attendee, is what you're saying, right? And it takes a while for that to, when you make a
No.
change.
Well, just when I'm working on it. Like right now, I just went in and put in my welcome text, and it actually still isn't even showing up. And I've refreshed it 3 times already, and it's in there, and I've saved it because I went to double check.
She's definitely talking about the dashboard as an attendee.
That's the dashboard.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As an attendee, I'm saying, okay, I'm not going into it as an attendee. I'm just doing it while I'm working on it. I'm just whatever I'm seeing as a person working on it.
Got it. So why don't you share your screen for a sec? Let's see what you're looking at.
While she's getting that ready, just for other people, that the way that the dashboard for attendees works is that it's cached on the server, and so it depends on. It's kind of about a 90-second to sort of 2-minute update cycle, and so that's how the dashboard is able to be sort of dynamic in that when changes are made, it will sit, the attendee view will sit there and make and check if changes have happened and sort of update live. So it's actually really good for events where you might make a change and you want people to be able to see it when they go back to the dashboard. They don't have to refresh, it'll just pop up. But when you're viewing that and when you're doing edits and things, and then you're wanting to view it as an attendee, that can be a little frustrating because it's got that sort of couple of minutes of where it's catching up and sort of getting the new version of the cache. But Barbara, if you made a change now, so you said you changed the edit. Yeah.
Hold on, I know
Sorry.
what's going on. Click on edit welcome message. Now click on styling. So what's happening right now is your font color is white and your background color is white. So the copy is there. The text that you're talking about is there. But if you change that color to just any other color than white, you'll see it. There you go.
I was thinking, okay, that was dumb. Okay. I was thinking this would disappear, but you're right, because I can still edit it, and that's okay. That's awesome. Good job, Barbara. Sorry. Okay.
And then you could use
team,
that preview button up at the top right if you toggle that.
Yeah.
So close that and then hit that.
Yeah.
There. Right. So now you see
incidentally,
it
the preview button would still show up white on white if you didn't change the color. So the color still has to be changed. But you're good there.
I just haven't worked in here a while, and now, it makes all this sense to me. So
cool.
Okay.
But you were finding that it was slow.
Yeah.
Is that an example of that, or are you just feeling like your whole computer sort of slows
everything
down,
on my computer starts to slow down. I can't open things, or it takes forever for them to open. I can stop my. Oh, do you want me to? I don't know if I can show you anything right now because I'm not really working on anything else other than Obvio. But so like for example, when I am, what's that?
Is it happening right now?
I just haven't been working in here very long, but actually, I don't think I shared this the right way. So for example, I was working on my PAG yesterday, and when I was trying to move things around, or like I shouldn't say working on my PAG, I was working on my journeys yesterday, and I was trying to move things, I was trying to retype things, and it was taking quite some time. Or trying to think of an example, because I was working on Obvio a lot on Monday, like for hours. And
when you say Obvio, do you mean Obi?
Oh, you're right. Obi, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So that's when it goes slow.
Do you want to, unless somebody has an Obvio question, do you want to share your screen and let's take a quick look at that?
I'm not working in Obi today, but I can open up. I can try it and see if it's going to happen today. Where am I at here? Let me just get it open first. You can answer other questions if something comes up.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to make sure if it was in a journey or in design my event. Hold on a second. I don't really know how to show you an example because I'm not really working in anything else right now. I'm trying to think. So Monday when I was working on Obi for probably like 4 hours, and it would just take quite some time for something to actually happen. Or if I wanted to go into ChatGPT and do something while that was happening, then ChatGPT was really slowed down. But again, it's not all the time, like for the full 4 hours. It seemed as though the longer I worked in it, the worse it got. And I was working online with Becky at the same time. So she was experiencing it as well. I have it open. Hold on a second here. Let me see if you want me to go to something specific.
I would just say try and do the thing that you were doing that was operating slowly. I'm kind of curious.
Well, I did almost, I mean, like I did all of this on Monday. So I was just going through
Right.
all of these different things. I'll go into review step and see what happens here. Well, this isn't going to be one. So one example I know that was happening, I don't know if it'll happen right now, but I was using like my talk to text tool to put things in here so I wouldn't have to type everything. And it would probably sit there for 4 or 5 minutes before anything actually showed up. I don't have my talk to text tool open right now, so I'd have to get that open as well. Anyway, we can
What
talk
kind
about
of
it. I know
computer?
this is
I know you're. I can see you're working on a PC. What can you give me a little bit of information about the computer? How new is it? How old is it? How much RAM does it have? It
so actually
looks
I've just
like
been
you're.
looking at all
Are
the
you working in? Is this Firefox or is this Safari or sorry Chrome that you're working in? I see you have both open.
currently this is Firefox that I'm in. Um, I have not done, actually, I did not work in OB in Google or in Chrome, I should say. Maybe that would work better. I have a Lenovo ThinkPad. It is old. I would say it's probably at least 6 years old. Um, I'm trying to think. I just was looking all this stuff up because I was considering buying a new computer. Again, I don't have the stuff in front of me, but
Yeah,
it has 32 RAM. I know that. Um,
that's
I don't
actually
know off the top of my head.
no. I mean, listen, 32 gig of RAM on a 2020 Lenovo doesn't sound unreasonable to me,
If you,
if I'm being
if you just
honest.
went, if you just went to the Explorer, like the files thing, Windows
Oh yeah,
Explorer. Well,
how full is the hard drive? That's an interesting. Is that what
well,
you're thinking?
just look at
This,
a couple
or
of
you want me to go
things.
to
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
else?
yeah. Go to that. Oh, yeah. You're probably not sharing it, which is okay. But and then if you went to where it says, oh yeah, that's good. And then this PC, if you right click on over in the left hand column down yeah, yeah, and then right click and then properties. Yeah. Where that goes. Yeah. Okay. Mentioned earlier i5. Um, it's very little graphics is probably one of the issues there. But
I mean, that
and there's
shouldn't.
no, and there's plenty of storage left. The 32
Yeah.
gig RAM is unusual. It's actually a lot. That's great. But yeah, 1.6 R5 is getting a bit
I
old,
would
but
love to if this happens again. I don't know if there's any way to track what it is that you're doing in the moment and
Yep.
kind of give us a sense of what you were
Yep.
doing and fire us an email. Because I mean, the reality is, we've been working on Obi for, like I said, 6-7 months. The reality is, it's only been 150 people who have been in hubs as users. It's not been more than that. I haven't had any problems. I use old computers. I use new computers. I try to use varied computers. I also try to use different browsers regularly when we're testing. So I don't think Firefox should be a problem. Although I do spend 90%, I spend 90% of my time these days in Chrome. I have a love-hate relationship with it, generally
Same.
speaking.
That's why. Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to take video the next time. And I'll tell because both I was working actually with Becky and Heather. We were on this whatever we were doing this meeting that we were in. It was just like a working meeting, and I just kept coming back to them. I'm like, I'm just still waiting for this to process. And they're like, the same thing happens to me. So that's why I thought maybe it was our computers. I didn't know for sure, but I'll record it if I can the next time, and if I can't record it, I'll write down what it is I'm doing so I remember better. And then I can
Yeah.
bring it to you in a different
Well, and I
meeting.
think one of my questions would also be is without closing anything, because I also heard you say something that triggered for me, which is your voice to text application was operating slowly. I
Yeah.
would be curious to know if you just open up a word, because you have Word open right now as well. If you just open up Word and use your voice to text there while everything without changing anything else, is it still slow? Like, is it slow going there as well? In which case, it's
Actually,
more of a system problem.
okay.
But if it
I
only
will.
operates slowly in Obi, then there may be an Obi problem. But it's not one I've heard or experienced personally. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So
No, I will say it doesn't. I will say I've only noticed it when I am working in OB, and then I also generally use my talk to text, and my Word completely goes slow. So now that you say that out loud, the talk to text, maybe the talk to text is what's causing me a problem. Um,
possibly. What are you
yeah, because
using for your
it's
talk? What are you using for talk to text?
I think it's called like Whisper Flow or something like that.
I know I use Whisper on my Mac. I love it. I just don't know if is there is that up? Yeah, Whisper Flow. Is that completely up to date? Are there any updates to the talk to text
There might be some updates needed.
application?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So I'll check into
But
that part of it.
that's
And because
something
there's
I
another one
like.
I use as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I would say to you like I know Whisper is it's a newer application, and I generally try and stay on top of like software updates for that sort of stuff. Although I use Whisper Flow. I mean, it's installed on all my computers, so I use it regularly. Um,
There's a yeah.
I'm on Macs, so it's a little bit different. But I'm on my PC is 5 years old, and the computer sitting under my desk is 4 years old. I don't have anything new that I'm using these days. But they were pretty beefy to begin with.
Okay. There was a
Although
second one I
to
used
Grant's
too.
point, your computer with 32 gig of RAM is actually fairly decent.
Yeah, it is. The CPU is a little under spec, particularly now. It's like it came out in 2017, as in the CPU itself. The computer was probably after that, but and so I think probably what could be happening is that um, it's when there's lots of things open. It's not normally we think of RAM as what we need with lots of things open, which is true because that's it's fast access of all the things that it's working on. But the CPU has to process everything. And if there's lots of things that are processing at the same time, that's where it can start to, you know, computers are not great at multitasking. They're like it's just switching between different things all the time. And so it could just be if you find that it's grinding a little bit, that you could try closing a few extra things down and then just see if that makes any difference. But it sounds like you've done very well out of this computer, and at some point, you will have to replace it.
I know, I know.
So,
And it might even be older than that. When you said 2017, I was like, oh, I bet I got it in 2018 because that's when I started
okay,
working from home for the first time was in
well,
2018,
it's
and I've
done
been
very
working.
well for you. You
I
you would
think,
have spent a fair bit on it. It would have been it was a beefy machine when you got it. So,
yeah.
and you've done very well out of it. But yeah, it's the
Cool.
type of thing that, especially with online events, it's always very handy having older machines as secondary machines that you can put the chat on, or you can put, a different display on, you can run PowerPoint on it or whatever it is. It won't go unused, but it just may not be your daily driver that you're using, because at some point you have to think about the efficiency that you're losing with an older machine, right? So,
Yep. Yep. And actually, I will just say, so Whisperful is one I used, and then this other one I just realized I saw it in there. It's Lemon. This is the other one I was trying, and I think this is the one I was using the other day because I think it auto populates usually. So I'll double check on this as well to see if this has been the problem or not. So
Maybe.
I'll check on that. I'll test around a little bit and see if I close Obi and then I still use my talk to text and I'm finding that it's slowing down, then I'll realize, oh, it's just that I generally use talk to text and Obi, and that's what it seems to, I thought it was Obi and it's really actually the talk to text. So I'll figure it out. I'll play around with it.
Okay. Well, yeah, let us know, Barbara, because if it is an OB issue and you're having it, other people will have it as we release it wider and wider. So the sooner we get a handle on it to fix it, the better.
Okay.
So
I'll be working in it a lot coming up this week. So I will see if I can get some video. Maybe I'll have some before Friday for you.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks.
And to make your life easier or possibly harder, don't try and do video, like doing like a loom, like a screen record would actually slow your computer down even more. Just pull your phone out and point it at the screen and record a video with your phone. Because that way you're not using extra computer resources. It's not going to be as clear for us, but it won't it won't make the matter worse.
Yep. That makes sense. Good. Yep. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Blue, when I was looking at Barbara's screen, it reminded me of how I've seen a few people using the welcome message for more than just like a single sentence or a couple of words or whatever. And it made me wonder about, someone was asking, can we have styling on that? Like, could we have just upgrade it to a full HTML and just give us a little bit more flexibility on that welcome message? On some of the themes, it's actually one of the key thing that they see first. And so being able to control that a little bit to put a bit more than just hello blue,
Yeah, I've also thought about like line. I've had moments where I've tried to do a line break and thought to myself, it'd be really nice to have line breaks here. And right now it's just continuous text.
That's right.
My only reservation, I'm totally cool with that. My only reservation is I wonder if we should do a limited editor there, where you maybe you can't do things.
Can't put a video in there or things, right?
Yeah. Because that's the sort of stuff that, especially on some of the like cards or on
really break it.
It'll exactly. But I think that
it'll
we
push
do
the
have
fold down.
I think we do have a limited tip tap editor somewhere.
It's just like a rich text type. Basic
I feel
fonts.
like, is that in the sidebar for text items? Is that, or does that also, I think that may actually allow you to do, that may be the full editor. I know somewhere we have a more limited editor. I just can't remember where it is in this moment. But we have moved away from, like Obvio did move away from CK editor to TipTap editor.
That seems to be working all right.
It is, yeah. It was another one of those plumbing changes that nobody noticed. So anyway, at the very least, we can probably do something there.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Barbara. Goodbye.
No problem, Barbara. Grant, have you seen the back end of Obi? How far have you gotten in it? Because I gave you
No. I'm waiting.
Useless.
And so is John and Carl, right?
No. Trust me, I know. So I mean, we're not doing anything else here. If somebody has a real question, you guys should ask it. But check this out. So this is the well, actually, first off, for John and Carl, they're gonna love the fact that the support application is actually baked into the main application.
That's nice.
Yeah. So when they log in, they can go into admin and actually manage users right through here, which is pretty epic. And they can do things like, they can do things like actually like log in as a creator, like as a subscriber, really, really easily, which is super awesome.
Impersonate is a good term for that.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So other stuff, this is just your main dashboard. So this is how many total users you have inside your platform, how many new users in the last 7 days, how many people have logged in the last 7 days, how many users have completed at least one step. So just a little bit of stats up the top. This is most recently edited content. So you have hubs, journeys, milestones, and steps, and it kind of shows you which is the most recent thing you've done. So this is the most recent hub I edited, the most recent actual journey that I worked on, and milestone and step. You can click and take yourself directly to that. You also see some, direct information about recent activity inside your hub. So a little bit of information right there. Nothing else leads you down. The main area, though, is inside of hubs. So I have a few different hubs that I've been working on. You can test as a user. Again, it's funny you say impersonate's a good word for that. Literally, I was having a conversation with Tyler this morning about unifying that impersonate feature. So I think that's actually what we landed on. So a change there is coming. But if I were to go in, this is Leap's hub. This is what we've got going on inside of there. So from here, you can look at chat templates, analytics for all of your users, something called offers, which is not all that dissimilar from Marketplace. The ability to manage users who have access to the hub, documents for reg and like chat implementation, payouts, which is connected to offers. So you can sell access to your hub and then get payouts through the service provider that we're using in the back end, and then hub options. So inside of hub options, you have, all the things that you can modify. You can preview what your hub looks like, although this is about to change pretty significantly. You have some customization options. We haven't yet developed multiple themes, but you have some pretty significant customization that you can do within the themes. So you can have different styles that you can associate. You can also rename journeys, milestones, steps, and conversations. To like, if you don't like journeys and you want it to be called paths, you can just change it, similar to what you can do in other LMSs. And then some default colors for each of those items. Content, this is where you can add like a welcome message. So the actual hub is this, right? This is what our users will actually access. All of this content can be modified just through these items right here, right now. Currently, the editor is this isn't a visual editor like we have on the dashboard for Obvio. It's more form-based. But you can click preview and get a quick sense of changes that you made. You can modify your welcome email. So when you invite somebody to the hub, they get an email with a link to actually do that stuff. Not a huge surprise. And then we have some base information that tells us a little bit about you, including a base prompt that you as a user can, like as the creator of your hub, you can modify. And something called core questions, which is more of an advanced level move, but so I'll leave it alone for now. But it relates to context. So from there, I think my favorite view of hubs is this thing called Canvas view, because it allows you to get a top-down look of what your hub looks like. You can see hubs, journeys, milestones, and steps. So journeys, this is a 30-day throughline journey that we have that all of our elite members go through. Starts with a milestone called Big Y. Inside of Big Y, you have a deep dive, and then next to Big Y, you have Right Fit Client, and then you can kind of, as a creator, you can kind of at a glance see the full hub, which is really a nice view to have. And then if you wanted to, you could go in and be like, okay, I need to change the marketing voice. You just double click on it and it takes you into the settings area of what you can do for that particular thing. So If you don't like that view, you can take a look at it in this view here, which is kind of like a folder look, right? So you can look at the hub that you're looking at. The 30-day through line is similar to what I was just working inside. And then inside of the 30-day through line, you've got all of the milestones that exist inside of there. I have some draft items as well as some published items, easy to actually determine what's what. You can keep on digging down. Actually, I'm going to go one level further. So offer creation has a series of steps, and then you can get into your step and actually take a look at what it is that you're looking at. So there's a lot of powerful stuff that's in here, which is awesome. The biggest problem that we've been trying to overcome, Grant, has been like, how do we get individual users to think about their content and their frameworks in this model? So over the course of the last week or so, we've
thinking about.
Yeah, it's tough. And we always have kind of right from the get-go thought to ourselves, like, we've been thinking about like this for 2 years, right? Like the original Obi that was launched for almost 2 years ago now, for Leap members, we've been thinking about this outcome creation or text-based output for our frameworks. I've been thinking like this for 2 years, so it's really natural to me. But most people don't. They think in terms of, what am I going to teach and what video am I going to record? And then, I put it into lessons and modules and so on and so forth. So we've always kind of thought we're going to need to OB-ify the hub creation. So we just this week pushed into production, although we've been working on it for probably a month, a hub creation wizard, which essentially just starts asking you about your hub. Like, what is it that you want? What are they going to walk away with, right? And it just starts asking you questions. Now, you can go into advanced mode if you're like, I don't want to use AI to do this. I just want to build it manually. You can do that, no problem. But you can just start asking. You can just start answering questions. You can upload frameworks. Like if you have a bunch of documentation for what it is that you do, you can upload it. And then what the AI does is it knows, the AI is trained to understand what the outcome is that we're trying to create, which is this AI hub is solely focused on building you a hub that contains journeys, milestones, and steps, along with questions and prompts. Like it knows all of the things. So you spend about 5-10 minutes answering some questions. The more time you spend answering questions, the better it'll be. And essentially, after answering a series of questions, possibly uploading some framework documents or a couple of transcripts of stuff that you've taught in the past that you want to implement, it builds out the entire hub start to finish, like every single piece, including marketing content. And then now you have this framework to work within, right? So this is one that I built using it. And then I made a couple of changes. So if I were to test this as an end user, you'll see this is a journey that is 100% driven by, like, I haven't made any changes to it with the exception of the background image. That is a manual thing that you have to do. So it has a series of milestones that you can go through. And essentially, this entire thing, everything that's here, get your head right, along with what each of these are the journeys. All of this copy, everything here was written by AI based on a worksheet. Like based on, what I did is I took Cody's, I took her workbook for her event, uploaded it to the AI hub, answered a series of questions. I probably spent a total of 20 minutes on it, and it put together an AI hub based on her content. I then had a couple members of her team go through it, and they were like, this is surprisingly accurate, was essentially what it said. So now, once you have this, I think, we've all been saying, and a lot of folks in the marketing space have been saying for a long time, one of the things that AI is fantastic at is getting you off the blank page, right? It's fantastic at saying, okay, let me give you a framework, let me build the thing for you, and then you go through and edit, because it's so much easier to make changes than it is to think about it from scratch.
It is, yeah.
So the idea, like the big idea, and I think hopefully, anyway, we'll see, but the big unlock is to have Obi create your hub for you as a framework, and then you go in and you can make as many changes as you want. Yeah, it's not intended, I don't think anybody should just trust 100% what AI does ever, right? Like literally in anything. And this is no different. So, but what I do think is it has definitely unlocked the ability to make a bunch of, to make an AI hub that produces an outcome for your users based on your frameworks, based on your knowledge, based on your teaching, just by, going through and answering a fairly straightforward interview like that. The actual interview process took me about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And it probably took me a little bit longer because I don't really know Cody's content, right? So I was trying to answer it from Cody's perspective as if I'm her. And based on the fact that I've seen her event because she does her events here. So I know enough, but I kind of know enough to be dangerous, not really enough. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
What do you, stepping through the leap one a little bit, I think that the big switch or like light bulb for me was when I've given it a bunch of information, and this is as an end user, that the next step, it starts populating a whole bunch of stuff based on what I've already said. That feels like that's a very different experience than a typical LMS, because because it's not just about creating the LMS, like from a coach's point of view. It's not just the shortcut to creating an LMS. It's actually the dynamic nature of the experience for the end users that starts feeding back things, taking your data along with the coach's data, combining that to actually being really useful stuff.
Yeah, to your point, this is the thing that's the switch for most people that is difficult to think through, and where I think this, the AI hub builder essentially is an unlock, because let's just say the old way of delivering a course is I record a bunch of videos, I give 1,000 people or however many people buy it, whatever, all the exact same videos. And now Tamara has to log in, she watches video number 1 and she learns a thing, and then she has to go do a thing. And she has to go, whatever that thing is, right? Like, let's say, hypothetically, I'm going to, give her a recording on how she should qualify who her right fit client is, right? Which is the first thing that we do inside of Leap, and what a lot of people do as a first step when they're working with clients. Then the second thing is I'm going to say, okay, now that you know who your right fit client is, we need to do a little bit deeper research and find out what some of their dreams and desires are. Now, as a human, you can go on to Google, you can look at keyword, you can do keyword research. You could potentially, research this stuff on Facebook, see what people in groups are asking questions about, but you have to dig for all of this stuff. And you may know some of it, but for the most part, you kind of have to dig into it. But to your point, because you just answered 20 questions about, in our case, 20 questions, not in everybody's, but in our case, you answered 20 questions about who your right fit client is. Now we're leveraging LMS or LLMs, right? Like these large language models that have infinite amount of information, and saying, based on who this person is, what would some of their what would some of their challenges be as it relates to a live event, right? Because we're very specific in our prompting. And that's, so behind the scenes, we're taking context that you've given us in combination with our knowledge and LLMs to then provide you with the next step, which is incredibly useful. The first step takes you a little bit of time, but the second step is like, holy crap, you know who my right fit client is. This is really cool. And then the third step, oh, you know what their dreams and desires are. And then you get into the next thing and you're like, okay, now let's create an offer for who they are and what their dreams and desires are. Right. And now, for Obi, one of the things that we do that's different than a lot of other platforms that a lot of coaches have built, like kind of hacked together, if you will. Most of those platforms require you to copy the output from one prompt and paste it into the input for the next one. And then, like, if you've ever bought a prompt cookbook or like some of the stuff that even the people who are on the screen behind me are teaching right now, right? They're literally, you're like, okay, do this prompt. Now, once you get this, combine that with this prompt. Now, once you do this, combine that with this prompt, and now you get the thing. Well, okay, yes, but that's a lot of work. And, one of the things that we think is, we kind of live right now in like TikTok has ruined us, right? TikTok and Reels and Shorts have absolutely ruined us. We all want like instant gratification, and instant gratification means something different today than it did a year ago, right? Today, instant gratification is if it takes me more than 60 seconds to get the outcome, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with your shit, right? And I'm sorry, clean show. Sorry, YouTube. Anyway, so, one of the things, so that step of having to copy and paste and then go to another thing, it's a step that we shouldn't put in front of our users because it's making it less likely that they'll complete the thing. Do you know what the average completion rate for a course is? It's like 7%. Paid courses, people who have paid $2,000 for a course, the average completion rate of a course is like 7%. It's insane. So, and that's I think in part because, I mean, you still have to, you learn it and it's like, oh, this is awesome, but then you still have to go do it. And where this changes is as you are going through it as a user, as you experience some of the Leap stuff, we're actually generating the output for you. We're trying we're trying to allow you to learn, like trying to create education for a TikTok market, but that is personalized to you. And I think, I think we've done a pretty good job with it. Mm-hmm. I think there's always room for improvement, but I think it solves a lot of problems, and it also solves the problem of this generic AI shit that so many people get when they log into Claude or they log into ChatGPT and try and learn about how to do an event, or, like I said, whatever the thing is that you teach. If people go into AI and ask that question, they're going to just get a generic answer. Whereas for the most part, people are attracted to us as coaches and as consultants for our unique perspective on the thing that we teach, right? Because I think you and I have talked about this a lot over the years, but there's no new ideas, right? Nobody has a new idea these days. There are I'm sure there are some, but for the most part, nobody has any new ideas. We just have our own unique perspective on an existing idea. And when I teach somebody how to host a live event and somebody else teaches somebody to host a live event and another person teaches somebody how to host a live event, those three people are most likely, I hate to say this because I wish it wasn't true, we're all probably teaching pretty much the same thing, right? But somebody's going to come to me because they're or most likely Barry, not me, but let's just say me for the moment. They're going to come to me because they're attracted to my unique perspective on the content that I'm teaching. If Tamara taught live events, they're going to come to Tamara because of the unique perspective she has on live events, even if we're both teaching the exact same thing, right? I've talked to somebody recently because we were talking about how does AI change our space? And I'm like, people are still attracted to people. People aren't attracted to machines. So if you and I
even more so, probably
100%, right? Because I think I am definitely more put off. I'll tell you funny. It's so funny that you say that. I am so irritated with an HVAC company that I'm working with right now. I'm beyond irritated. And the reason I'm beyond irritated is I can no longer talk to a human. Because when I call, I get an AI voice agent. And they're useless. And when I try to get past the AI voice agent, they have outsourced their AI voice agent to a customer service company. So now the customer service person that I finally get to doesn't even work for the company. They're no better than like a freaking pager service from 20 years ago who are like, yes, I will get that message to Dr. Jones immediately and he will return your call. Thank you for calling Dr. Jones's office. Like, do you work for Dr. Jones? Yes. In his office? Not really. Right? Like Dr. Jones's answering service has nothing to do with Dr. Jones. It's like, and I hate it because I can't get to the person I just want to talk to.
Yeah.
So, sorry, tangent. I'm having an HVAC problem this week, clearly, which is a great week for it in Charleston, South Carolina.
You just live in the office thing?
Pretty much, yeah. It's nice and cold here. I got here at 8 o'clock this morning. I'm not leaving until the sun goes down because at least at that point it'll be a tiny bit warmer or cooler in my house. Anyway, I think I think
the things that we're craving more than ever, the human experience. So the human relationships, the real emotion, the real, just the real human experience. And it's not one or the other. I think that AI is helping us get through a whole bunch of content, information processing. All of that's really fast now. We're getting really quick at that, which is actually giving us more time, but then we are craving more of the human experience. And so live has become even more important than ever. So rather than just having lots of videos to watch, there's so much content out there. But suddenly I'm more attracted to joining a live meeting because at least we're having a common experience. We're building common unity. We're building community because of the experience that common experience that we're having. And so tools like this, I think, are really valuable because they're shortcutting a lot of the processes to helping people get through to then that human experience. This year I just started doing strength training with a coach, like a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly to your point. He's not teaching anything different than anybody else. But
move more, eat less. That's it.
But sure. But the thing was, I don't want to just hear generics. I just want you to tell me what I have to do right now. And so he says, okay, so now you do 3 sets of this, and then you do 2 sets of that. And I just want you to tell me that, and you can funnel all the world's information. And I trust you. You tell me what I do. And so I think that process translates to all sorts of different fields. So it was, but coming back to Leap, where it was, I tell you one thing that I really loved was when it was, like the different options, like which one best suits your, you. The thing that I wish I could have done is selected more than one, right? And kind of say this one and that one, and then can you now do an extra step to to condense that into one based on these two. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so the interesting thing is you actually can, that feature is a tiny bit buried, but basically once you select one of them, you get your editor. And if you click on the enhance with AI, you'll actually see, if you look up, you actually see all 10 options. Like in the case you were talking about, it was one where it was 10 options. And you can literally ask AI, say, hey, I actually really like option 2 and option 3 above. Can you combine those two into a single? And then it'll output a new one for you, and you just click accept this option, and now it pops it in. I agree with you. We haven't, there's a couple of things on the user side that I'm still like, there's some things back there that I'm like, we need to touch on that again. And that's one of them. But there is a bit of a workaround.
The enhance with AI, I think it's not obvious to me that can be a chat. I right? Like I can give it instruction.
Seriously, and I actually dislike that that language. Like enhance with AI is not a button that I like. So it's funny. Probably be live tomorrow or the day after, but there is a new completion editor interface that is in the works that actually gives you a little bit more space, because it actually is design wise, it's a bad use of space. So we need to enhance the use of space on that page so that the text editor takes up a little bit more and you see more text on the window, right? Because it's just too spaced out. And then people have gotten used to this little wizard icon, I call it, like that usually means, that usually means AI, right? And so we're putting that enhance with AI button is changing into that icon in combination with, I believe, the word enhance or improve or something like that. And it's going up next to the copy button in the editor. So it'll be a little bit more obvious that this is, click this to make this change. And then the slide out, that UI itself is actually also changing, because that UI is kind of like overbearing, right? Like when it comes out, you're like, whoa, dude, that's a lot. What are you doing for me right now? So here, I'll show it to you. So literally.
Have you thought about using voice at all?
Yeah, we have. The reason it's not there has to do with token usage, and we're just not 100% sure yet on token usage. So this isn't perfect, but this is how the enhance with AI slide out is going to change. So it's not going to take up the entire, like it takes up half the screen right now. So we're modifying font size. We're making the actual editor a little bit bigger, and it's going to be triggered by a button that's right up in this corner here, which I hope will be a little bit more obvious. It's a little weird, a little counterintuitive. We're trying to make it a little more hidden, but baked into the editor, which hopefully will make it feel more connected to what it is that it actually does.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
So yeah, lots of, dude, I mean, seriously, this actually feels very much like, March of 2021.
Yeah. Or 20.
Like well, and of course, Michelle and Mike are still, 2020. Michelle is in Australia. Mike's in Japan. So I talked to them in the middle of the night. I talked to Tyler and Mark during the day.
During the day, yeah.
Yeah. And then every once in a while, I'll venture into code. That's always dangerous. I try to stay out of this particular project. So
it's really cool, man. I think examples that are really different from each other will be really helpful. Like something that's just totally different, to show how people might use it. And I love the idea of like a lead magnet, use case for it as just like a real entry level, and then being able to sell it, being able to sell another version of that, or the, an advanced version of it versus the, just kind of the taster or the demo almost of it.
Yeah, the page builder is really, it's simple, but it's really quite awesome. So this is the page builder, and it's really straightforward and simple. You have like some styling. It's minimal options, right? So
yeah,
it's not as robust in some ways as the Obvio page builder in Marketplace, but it's simpler to use.
And this one works?
And this one works, exactly. And then you have products. You can go free, you can go paid. If you go paid, you can go subscription, annual, monthly, or one or the other or both. Or you can go one-off purchase, and you can do one-off purchase with a payment plan as well. So, and each, theoretically, a single hub could have multiple offers associated with it. And if built correctly from the ground up, you could do something where you're like, okay, this journey right here is the free version, right? So you can build an opt-in page that is like, leap.ob.io/RFC for Right Fit Client or something like that. And you give anybody who joins that access to just the Right Fit Client, journey, and that's it. And then once they finish that, we have inside of our Zapier integration, we have the ability to trigger a zap when a step gets completed. So you could have a second product. You could, perhaps have like a one-time upgrade to get access to offer creation, or a subscription to get access to offer creation plus event builder, right? So there's actually quite a bit of stuff that you can do with it, because inside of the hub, the individual items also, so if we go into Right Fit Client settings, has visibility that can be based on step completion, question answered, whether they are, it can be based on dates, it can be based on how much time they've been on the platform, or user tags. So we can have an entire section that is only accessible for paid users, and another section that's accessible for free users. And when somebody signs up for the free thing, if they upgrade to the paid thing, they don't lose any of their work because it's all in the same hub.
I was just thinking that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
some
cool.
of these ideas kind of,
it's not a whole,
come from.
It's not a whole separate thing. It's now just unlocked a whole bunch more. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, you can make it a whole separate thing if you want to. You can have, 2 hubs in your account, but it's the idea is more so that that you could potentially, if thought through correctly, because it's a little bit of an advanced level move, but if thought through correctly, you could step somebody through your process in phases and like upgrade phase by phase. So
love it.
Yeah, it's pretty. There's some stuff that is like right out of the gate inside of the platform that are things that we still don't have in Obvio that you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
One of them is custom domains.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah, and it's nice and easy.
Is that transferable?
We don't own the domain. You don't buy the domain through us. It's just a DNS update.
I mean, the implementation, is that transferable to Obvio?
Possibly. It's largely based on Vercel. in the background. So we're using Vercel's multi-tenant custom domain functionality to do it. So like, unlike some of the stuff that we've done inside of Obvio, like it's amazing how much faster things are being developed, in part because of AI, right?
Sure.
But
and new tools as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think, some of the stuff for sure is going to be able to be transferable, but
I heard that Mike played around with a refactor, and did pretty well, like better than it has in the past.
Yeah, he's I think he's really happy with where it's going. But this is what I was saying earlier, right? This is, a refactor of the code that it will be great for us internally, but nothing end users will wind up seeing. But it will allow us to also develop. It'll allow us to develop faster.
Yes,
because it'll be easier to use AI to code.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah. All right. Well, we've managed to kill a solid 45 minutes.
Yeah, we have. Add me to the add me to Obi.
Creator. Yep.
Yeah. And do you think your OCM's going to be a lot about using Obi, right?
OCM is going to be largely about OCM. The goal of OCM, I have an internal goal that Kat is not allowed to listen to. So Kat, you keep your ears closed on this one. I want to see both hands, not just one. I know you can hear out of the other ear too. Come on.
You should put a hands down.
So I have a secret goal that I want everybody at OCM by the end of day 2 to have built their first hub and have an offer page already built and have sent out a link to their offer page by the end of day 2 to a small subset of their closest, closest confidants, their closest friends, their closest, most valuable clients, the people who will, hey, we're trying something new, check this out, that sort of thing. And then the idea is for day 3 to be all about cleanup. So yeah, day 1 is all about thinking through how to turn your framework into outcome generation. Day 2 is all about a little bit of messaging around that, creating the offer page, and then writing the emails and a little bit of messaging around getting it out there. With the hope is that before people leave, some people hopefully will have made sales already.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Will you record those sessions?
Yeah, we will, because it's the baseline.
It's the initial training for workshops. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. Because we're trying to, because some of it is, for the last month or so, I've been trying to think about how to talk about Obi, because we've been using Obi, and it's like Michelle says, we have the curse of knowledge, right? Because we understand exactly what Obi is. It's really hard to it's been hard to explain it, because I'm like, you just do it. Why are you asking me any questions? Just log in and do it. But obviously it needs a lot more rethink, because it's a completely new way of thinking. People aren't thinking about this yet. And something else I've realized, we're all right now, over the course of the last year, and maybe a year and a half for some people, we're all learning how to work with AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, we're getting AI to help us. Like, I'm getting AI to help me. You're getting AI to help you. Tamara's getting AI to help Tamara. And all of the training out there is all around how to make AI work better for you personally. And what this platform does is it allows you to use AI to help your clients.
Yeah.
And very few people are actually teaching that. So it's again thinking externally, and nobody's thinking that way yet, or very few people are thinking that way. So, not saying nobody. There is some people who are thinking that way, but not many of them.
Yeah,
especially when you look at some of the big launches, like the big launches that, some of the multi-million-dollar course launches that we've been a part of.
Yeah.
It's all teaching people how to use AI to make themselves personally more productive. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. But making like a multiple of revenue generation for us as business owners is not getting it to help us. It's getting it to help our users, getting it to help our audience, and then getting our audience hooked on us. So anyway.
Yeah, and not just AI, and that's a fine needle to thread as well, right? It's like it's not just content; it's the perspective, it's that unique perspective that's coming through. But so it's also not just about creating a course. Like it's not a shortcut to creating a course.
I mean, I think it's a shortcut to creating a new type of course, because you can, like, inside of Obi, there's all sorts of opportunity to upload videos, or not upload, but insert videos, insert trainings. We don't have it in the Leap hub in very many places, but there's a lot of new areas where, like, if you click on one of those items that doesn't ask you any questions and it just spits out an output, that's great, except for the fact that there's no explanation as to what you just got. So we've added this feature that we haven't implemented in our version of Obi. Like in our AI hub, we don't have it in there, but there's this new feature inside of Obi where you can put a training page, or what we call a content intermission, right before that output. So you can place a video there and some content that says, okay, so this is really exciting. What we're about to do is we're going to create an output of exactly what your clients are struggling with right now. And how we're doing this is by leveraging blah, 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 blah. You can talk about what it is they're about to get. And then you say, so click the button below and we'll build it out for you. You don't have to do any work. We're about to do it. They clicked the button. They saw the training, only 2 minutes. Like, these trainings shouldn't be more than a couple minutes in duration. TikTok generation again. And now you get the output. And so now it's like, oh, so I told you what you were about to get, and which is the course part. And the difference part is now it just gives it to you rather than you have to go do it. So, yeah, there's lots to noodle over.
It's really cool. Anyway. Yeah. I found one thing when I was talking about talk before, I was thinking also about the idea that you could go without, you could do a bunch of the process without a screen. You could go for a walk, you could lie on a beach, you could, whatever it is. And it's talking to you, talking the questions through, and then asking for the answer. And one of the things I noticed was a question, and then the question mark with like AI, Barry just talking through it. Yeah. But it felt like that was more than a tooltip. Like it was that felt like it was kind of hidden away. There's a lot of great content there that was hidden away. And it almost felt like a primer to the question.
It is a primer. That's 100% what it is. Like if you're not 100% sure what it is, click here. And I also think that question mark needs to turn into a slightly different icon that makes it a little bit more present, a little bit more visible.
Yeah.
So, in the first version of Obi, which is what our AI hub was built with, like the preliminary version, that was the only place that you could put content. And there's a lot more of that. I mean, there's now on the final page, on the final output where you can actually make edits, there's now a place inside of Obi where you can put content there as well, right? So another tooltip, which it's the same user interface, where it's like video, possibly heading video content. Again, we're not using it in our hub because these are features that we've added thinking about what people like Kat and and other people who may be using the platform in the future where they may want to put some additional education to make it still have some of that course feel, but where it's delivering. One of the taglines is stop making promises, start delivering results. And so that's right now the course model is you deliver a promise. There's a promise of something that you're going to learn, but you still have to generate it. You still have to do the work. You still have to whatever, right? You have to do it. And I think it's one of the reasons why courses have such a low completion rate. And the closer we can get you, the closer we can get you to doing the work for you, the more likely you are to keep going.
Absolutely correct.
Anyway, Kat, this is our secret. You're not allowed to talk about this to anybody.
I hear nothing. There is an old TV show. Did you ever watch that one where it's World War II and the captain, or who is it, Sergeant somebody says, I hear nothing. I hear nothing. Are you familiar with that?
No.
I have to find it for you. Okay.
Talking about MASH? You do. Is it MASH?
No, it's pre-MASH. I'll find it. Anyway, his classic line is I hear nothing. And of course he listens to everything and he's a gossip, but I am not a gossip. I will say nothing. But I do want to give you feedback from the universe. You're absolutely on the right track because so many little tiny details have kept me personally from being much more successful than I intended to be. So thank you so much for sticking with it and employing AI because it's coming up with Tony, Russell, Dean, everybody's got their version of AI happening. So it's really timely right now for us because we've been so entrenched in this model is to figure out how to use AI so that we can serve our people to deliver the promises that we have been offering. So thank you.
Yeah. You're most welcome, Kat. I'm glad you're excited. I'm clearly very excited. I can talk about this for hours and hours. So, all right. Well,
sounds great. It doesn't even pertain to me.
Well,
Tamara,
I
love
you never
it.
know. Yeah, it's I think it's going to be a fun, like I said, it'll be a fun thing. We have a small group of, I'll call them alpha users, who are going to be some Leap members who are coming into our studio on Monday. And then hopefully by the end of this month, we will actually start doing some light beta testing to our list. Start testing messaging around whether or not people will actually buy this thing that we've built. And then once we nail that, hopefully by mid to late August, we're planning on actually doing a more wide launch of
I just love your approach. I just love your approach. Your approach is always like, what is going to be good for the end user and how do I make that better? And for me as a theater producer, that's always my end to end is how does the audience, like, from buying tickets to their drive home, what is their experience like? So I've just always appreciated that about you. And I feel it in Obvio, I use it for other things, but I feel that in every step of it, that was kind of the through line, and that's the through line that I use when I use it. So it's just, I really appreciate it, even though this thing isn't for me.
Well,
maybe
one day.
You never know. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see. And thank you for saying that, Tamara. I appreciate it. You want to wrap?
All right.
Ciao.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's see you.